Malachi chapter 1 verse 4. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever. All praises, call halal to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. The water forgiving us the apostles and elders at Great Millstone who ruled well, who taught us this truth. Salutations, peace, and blessings to the hopeful elect, Aki, pushing his word in truth and sincerity across the four winds of the earth. Shalom to the believers, the men, women, and children alike. It's your brother Karaitazar from GMS, Mississippi, Gulf Coast, House of Judah, coming back with another quick article, quick lesson. Ottawa and Ratazar, Lord willing, it be edifying. I pray it be edifying and straight to the point. The article, the name of the article that I have says medical journal publishes study attacking whiteness as a malignant parasitic-like condition. Now, whiteness, let's get this straight. There's no such thing as a white person, a so-called white person. Their skin color is pretty much translucent. It's a pink. All right, it's a pink. And when they get mad or physical, bruises and out in the sun too long, they turn red. Now it says here in Genesis 25 and 25, because this is who we're talking about. It says, and the first came out red, all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. Now, Esau is the progenitor of the Edomites, the so-called white race, which is, we know, is red, as it says here. They're really red. Now, to prove that a little bit, now Esau came out with Jacob. Let's read verse 26. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. All right, now Esau means wasted away. Edom, if I'm not mistaken, means red. And Jacob means Jacob is the progenitor, the forefather of the Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, Seminole Indians. Now, they were twins. They came out of Rebecca, Isaac's wife. Now it says, verse 27, and the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. Now, when you think of a plain man dwelling in tents, you may think of Native Americans, Seminole Indians, how they dwelled in teepees and out in nature on the land. Now, Esau was a cunning hunter, and we know that the so-called white man is always hunting, camouflage everything from his boots to everything. He got animals hung up in his house over his fireplace, and he hunts for sport. This is what he does, and that's just a little proof that this is the so-called white man. Now let's get back into the article. Lord willing, I'm not all over the place, but the first paragraph it says, a prominent medical journal for the U.S. Psychoanalysis has published a study demonizing whiteness as a malignant parasitic-like condition to which white people, so-called white people, have a particular susceptibility. Now, malignant and malign, when you look that word up, it means evil in nature. Evil in nature, influence, or effect, showing intense, often vicious, ill will. All right. Now I want to get a scripture. Sirach, aka Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, verse 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusted, it says, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. Now we know that the so-called white man is our enemy. How do we know that? The book of Deuteronomy 28 and verse 68, it tells us that we were brought over here on cargo slave ships by our enemy, and we were made to serve our enemy as bondmen and bondwomen, serve slavery. And that's who did that. Who funded and ran the slave trade, the so-called white man. It says, verse 11, though he humble himself and go crouching, take good heed and beware of him. Yeah, no, though he comes humbly and says that he's your friend or whatever, speaking peaceable words, take good heed of him and beware of him. It says, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. Verse 12. Now, Slakia, verse 10, like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. So, if just as you set a piece of iron out in on your backyard, unless if it gets rained on or just weathering happens to it, gets corroded, it's gonna rust away. You put a brand new piece of iron out there, it's gonna rust away within a matter of months to years. It's the same thing with this man, this devil, which the scriptures call him a devil. Devil meaning deceiver. If you observe him for a course of time, you will see that the wickedness that lies within him will manifest itself. Verse 12, Sirach 12 and 12, set him not by thee, lest when he hath overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat, and thou at the last remember my words and be pricked therewith. All right. Salakia. Now I want to get another precept real quick. Proverbs chapter 4, verse 14. It says, enter not into the path of the wicked. And as we know in the opening precept, the wicked, as we read in Malachi 1 and 4, is Esau Edom, the border of wickedness, whom the Lord hath indignation against forever. Indignation meaning righteous hatred. So the Lord hates this devil. All right. And this article is actually goes right along with the scriptures in many ways. All right, verse 15. Avoid it, pass not by it, turn from it, and pass away from what? The evil men and the path of the wicked. It says, verse 16, for they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away, unless they cause some to fail. And this is going back into that definition for malign, evil in nature, influence, or effect, showing intense or often vicious ill will. These folks, this devil, they don't even sleep. They can't sleep unless they have done mischief or unless they've caused someone to fall. All right. Just now let's get back into the article real quick. Not wanting to make this this lesson long, just trying to get the precepts that came to mind out. Now it says a study which was given a platform late last month by the Journal of the American Psychoanalytic Association went on to portray whiteness as a disorder that doesn't yet have a permanent cure. And before I go any further, the previous paragraph, it said that whiteness as a malignant parasitic like condition to which white people have a particular susceptibility meaning a lack of ability to resist. So these people can't resist being wicked, they can't resist being malignant and parasitic. And I'm not gonna grab it, but Ecclesiastes 7 and 13, it says, consider the works of the Most High, who, it says, for who can make straight which he hath made crooked. So, susceptibility, that's just inevitable for them to be like that, because I'm gonna get another precept real quick. Maybe I'm gonna get it in a second, but right here in this article it says the American Psychoanalytic Association went on to portray whiteness as a disorder that doesn't yet have a permanent cure, because you can't make straight what the Lord made crooked. Now it says parasitic whiteness renders its host appetites ferocious, insatiable, and perverse. It says it says Arthur Donald Moss, a white New Yorker who has more than 4 decades of experience in private practice. Now he's white himself. It says these deformed appetites particularly target non-white people. So as we just read, well, let me see. Um, let me see. Now let's get back into the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, to go along with this paragraph in this article. Habakkuk chapter 2, and starting at verse 8, it says, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all now, select real quick. No, I actually want to start at verse 4. Salakia, I almost skipped over all this. All right. Now remember that parasitic nature means an organism living in, on, or with another organism in order to obtain nutrients, grow, or multiply, often in a state that directly or indirectly harms the host. So this nature of this devil is to leech onto something and to suck it dry, pretty much, as they do Jake, because the article says it usually targets non-white people. Now let's get Habakkuk chapter 2 and 4. It says, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Uh yeah, so his soul is not lifted upright in him. Just as it says right here in this article, um this parasitic whiteness renders its host appetites ferocious, insatiable, and perverse. His soul is not lifted up right in him. Verse 5, yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, uh, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. And that's all right. So transgressing in this state, in this stance, it means oppression, to afflict, to oppress, and to spoil. Now, this article also says that it's parasitic, and right here it says he gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. He leeches off of all of these other nations, including Jake, starting with Jake. Jake, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Now, real quick, Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 7. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand. Babylon is America. It says that made all the earth drunken. Now, the so-called white man runs the whole earth. Job 9 and 24 says the earth was given into the hand of the wicked, which now now he runs the earth through his sword. He got the blessing of the sword in the book of Genesis from Isaac, I believe in verse 30, I mean chapter 32, don't quote me, but so that sword is what he runs the earth by. He right here it says he had been Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that had made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Mad meaning to boast, to rage, to act madly, foolishly, or clamorously. So America, which is the chief place of the so-called white man, has over 800 military bases throughout the world, and they influence these other nations through democracy, but ultimately through their sanctions, because the dollar is the world currency. It has been for the last couple decades, and so they put sanctions on other countries to manipulate them, and they push their democracy to change these other nations' customs. They may have religious customs that they practice, and then America goes and push their democracy on them to get them to change their customs and to that's that wine, because remember, transgression by wine, transgression is to spoil and to afflict and to oppress, so that's oppressing their their customs. Now Psalms 37 and 35, it says, I have seen the wicked in great power and spreading himself like a green bay tree. And that's how he spreads himself like a green bay tree throughout all the four corners of the earth to all these nations by way of his sword, which is his blessing. All right, now back in Habakkuk chapter 2, let's go to verse 5. It says, Yea, also because he transgresseth. Well, we already read that, Slaki. It just says, he doesn't keep at home. He enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied. Gathereth unto himself all people. Now let's go back into the article real quick, and I'm gonna read a little more and grab a couple more precepts and wrap it up. Let me see. It says, while it's nearly impossible to eliminate such appetites, Moss said they can be effectively treated with a combination of psychic and social historical interventions. But medical professionals can only hope to reshape those appetites for the better, such as reducing their intensity, altering their aims, and in some cases turn those aims to the work of reparation, to repair. Let me see. And we know that I'm not going to read anymore. It's the point has been made, but we know that there's no repairing this devil. There's no saving him. There's no nothing that he can do to repay what he's done. Thus saith the Lord, and we're going to prove that by these final closing scriptures. All right, we'll start back in the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, starting at verse 8. It says, because that thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein. So they're going to be spoiled because of all the blood they've shed and all the violence that they have done throughout the planet Earth. Verse 9, woe to him that coveteth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set. Now so-called white man, hey man, his house, Esau, Edom, whatever they have, they've stolen it. Covetousness means to want something that someone else has. It says that he may that he may set his nest on high. We know that in Obadiah it says that this devil dwells high upon high and makes his nest in the roughly paraphrase, and makes his nest among the stars. It says that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. Verse 12. It's like you're going down to verse 12, skipping down to verse 12. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood, and establisheth a city by iniquity. Iniquity is sin. So woe to him, meaning death and destruction. Thus saith the Lord. Verse 15, jumping down to verse 15. Woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, and puttest thy bottle to him, and makest him drunken also, that thou mayest look upon their nakedness. Now, that's going into him pushing his democracy to the other nations again, his philosophies and ideologies. And for example, homosexuality, bestiality, pedophilia, all of these things, just to say the least, to make them drunken, to make them leave off of their original customs. It says that thou mayest look on their nakedness. Nakedness again meaning someone who is not in compliance with their original customs. For example, Adam and Eve, when they were in the Garden of Eden, the Lord said they hid themselves because they said they were naked. The Lord said, how do you know you were naked? And nakedness, that means that they weren't in compliance with the law, statutes, and commandments that the Lord gave them. All right, now let's go. I got two more precepts. Obadiah 18 and chapter Salakia. Obadiah, it's only one chapter. Now verse 18, Obadiah 1 and 18. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, you Israelites, and the house of Joseph a flame, the northern kingdom, you Israelites as well. And the house of Esau for stubble. and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord hath spoken it. So the solution to this devil and his so-called whiteness, as his article stated, is to get rid of him. He's a cancer in the earth. The earth is polluted by this devil from in every facet and angle of life on planet Earth is polluted by this devil. So the Lord says here that there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord hath spoken it. Now, Psalms 37:10, closing with this, it says, for yet a little while, and the wicked shall not be. Yea, thou shalt diligently consider his place, and it shall not be. All right, so just a little while, and his wicked devil will be taken into captivity, made to serve rigorous bondage for all of his atrocities that he has perpetrated. And after he has completed his service, he will be exterminated. Thus saith the Lord. All right. So, Audubon Ratazar, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Till the next time, I want to say Shalom.